or it could be long-term pain, but it's going to lead to
Yeah.
more pain. So I think that now he's changing his message, and now he's taking a populist approach to this whole presidency,
It's moving the
where
goalposts.
right, where
Yeah.
it's saying now he's saying that the globalists are the ones that's concerned about the stock market.
He's a
Now he's
globalist.
Right. We're all globalists at this point. We're all participating. We're all participating in deals with each other at this point. Yes. So him being a billionaire, he participates. But right now, he is doing something and implementing something that is going to benefit America. You know, two things can be true. Is that not the case? Can these things that he's implementing in theory and possibly in actuality over time benefit America?
huh?
While he's a globalist.
Yeah. Well, he's changed his position every
Yeah.
time he gets. But so now he's saying that the global
And that's a very passive aggressive. He changes his position every. Like, come on. For one, if you're doing, listen, there's different strokes for different folks, right? He comes across as an entrepreneur, a businessman who's constantly evaluating things, constantly considering information and data on a day to day. That's what you do. That's what high level CEOs do. You know? Now, the things that he's been concrete on, you're not saying anything about it, such as on being tough on immigration. He said he was going to do that. He hasn't changed his stance on that. He did move forward with tariffs. He said he was going to do it, and he's done it. There's no change stance on that. So when they say, "Oh, that's manipulation right there with words," and he hasn't changed his stance on anything. You may not agree and like what he does. You don't like the way he talks, that he considers, and he may change his approach, but he's not changing his approach completely from what he said he was going to do.
list is the ones that's concerned about the stock market. Pretty much what he's doing is playing to the base, middle American. Vast majority of people are not investing in the stock market.
Donald Trump, if you go on the internet, you would see that Donald Trump has a following of a diverse group of people. Ironically, if you think about it, Donald Trump has probably the most diverse group of followers. He has white people, of course. He has the middle Americans. He has rich white people that are sick of, the stuff that's going on. He has conservative black men. He even has conservative Latino. So his base is diverse. Because I'm not a middle America man. The way my community votes, they voted Democrat most of my life, people around me. But when I was young, all the older black people, or black Americans, I should say better, or just Americans in general, they were all conservative. Majority were conservative. The things that go on now, even the behaviors and conduct, they shunned it. They shunned it. Not saying they were perfect and they didn't have, times where they let their hair down, but it was just a different time. It was just different. And the community, patriarchs of the past, if they saw the things that were going on today and how they're accepted, they would be disgusted. They would be disappointed.
So
True.
stock market gains and losses doesn't directly affect them. So he's saying like, look,
The stock market gains and losses don't directly affect you guys either, because you guys play in that big boy league now, allegedly. So they're not going to kill you guys. You guys can wait out the storm the same way he can wait out the storm. Anyone that's been established, which is their right, there's nothing wrong with being wealthy and there's nothing wrong with being well off during these times, by the way. They try to guilt you. And for people that aren't there yet, that stumbled upon my video, listen to me. If you're not there yet, it's okay. One, this might be a time for you to enter, to build wealth, to buy, do your research on companies, figure out, is this going to work? Is this going to be here? Are they in debt? What's their outlook? Don't overwhelm yourself, but start doing that research and take a chance. Use your instincts. Use your common sense. Is this going to be here? Are they building robots? Serve robotics. Is that something that's going to be here? SoundHound AI. Yeah, they're getting a lot of flack. It's a risk, but is this technology going to be here? Can I see them scaling up? Potentially. Or do I want to go with a safer choice like NVIDIA? They're making the chips, everything that's being developed now, for all the software and AI that's being developed now. So, there's different ways to approach it. But overall, once you get to that point, are you going to just start feeling guilty? Let's say you become, let's not say you're as rich as a Donald Trump or an Elon Musk, but you're just a millionaire or have a couple millions, and you live a certain way where you're not struggling at all, and the stock market goes down and you're just like, you're cool, you're just waiting for it to come back up. Should you feel bad about that? Should you stop implementing plans? Should we stop doing things that are, better for us? And that's a poor mentality to think that Donald Trump is implementing things that are going to, have some pain. But the stock market is not necessarily making the average person rich. So what does it matter in the end? It only matters to who? Globalists. People that are primarily globalists that just want to benefit from the stock market and just, they're the ones that are getting the money, getting rich from the stock market, while the average person is, making what they can.
Don't worry about that. That's for the elite. That's for the globalists. As long as we can provide more jobs in America, right? And we can help the average everyday American.
If you have more jobs in America and you can help the average everyday American, wouldn't they have more money to invest in the first place, which would then pump up the stock market more long term?
That's more important than the stock market, which to me, as if you're in the stock market, that's not good when the president of the United States.
Okay, but what does that matter? The people that are in the stock market are people that are solely relying on stocks, which is something that represents the productivity of a company, right? That operates in a country, hopefully America. So we need the company to operate to its best ability. So we have to set up the environment so that these companies can operate on a higher level, so they'll go up even higher later on.
Is pretty much already trying to discard the stock market and trying to say like, don't
wait, what? Hold on.
We don't already trying to discard the stock market and trying to say like states is pretty much already trying to discard the stock market and trying to say like, we don't care about the stock market, right? That's for globalists, and we're more focused on jobs.
All right, so let's see what he said. See what he said again.
Idea of short-term focusing on the stock market.
What I have to do is build a strong country. You can't really watch the stock market. If you look at China, they have a 100-year perspective. We have a quarter. We go by quarters.
That's true.
And you can't go by that.
So he says you can't totally focus on the stock market. We go off of quarters. He's not saying the stock market has no benefit. He doesn't say that. He doesn't care about the stock market. He says we can't focus on the stock market about what's happening right now. Because short term things are going to happen. It's short term. Within a quarter, you guys are thinking within a quarter. So why aren't you teaching people? This is supposed to be about wealth, assets over liabilities. Assets build over multiple quarters, over years. And that's why the great Warren Buffett quote is based off of what? Emotion. It's based off emotions. It's not based off of logic, fear and greed. When people are selling in fear, that's when you should be greedy. When people are fearful, they're not thinking the right way. They're not thinking about logic. When people are greedy, that means they're buying so much they don't think there's a ceiling. They're just pumping something up. That's when you shouldn't be participating, because that's when it becomes artificially high. So they're not preaching the right message here. They're not telling you guys that this is going to benefit us in long term. And that's what Trump said.
While not creating jobs, it's crazy.
While not creating
You
jobs.
put-
So we talking
you
about
push the
the
AI Act.
Wait. Did they just say that Donald Trump is not creating jobs? Okay, so let's debunk that, right? And this is just for informative valuable information. So Donald Trump hasn't brought back jobs. Let's do some research. Okay. Trump. All right, let's find it.
Be with you. Very great honor. Thank you very much.
Hold on, let's get a.
Thank you very much.
Wait a minute, hold on.
New investment will go into building 5 cutting-edge fabrication facilities in the great state that we just discussed, Arizona, and will create thousands of jobs, many thousands of jobs.
Wait, what? Wait a minute, hold on.
Investment will go into building 5 cutting-edge fabrication facilities in the great state that we just discussed, Arizona, and will create thousands of jobs, many
all of that.
Not creating jobs.
Then we're more focused on jobs.
While not creating jobs, it's crazy.
While not creating
thousands of jobs. Just Arizona, and will create thousands of jobs, many thousands of jobs.
jobs. So we talking about
While not creating jobs, it's crazy.
while not creating jobs. So
And the high-paying jobs. In total, today's announcement brings Taiwan semiconductor investments to about $165 billion they've started already, among the largest new foreign direct investments in the United States.
Okay. And I got to give Joe Biden credit, or his team, because I think they had an initial deal with TSMC. But this deal is even better because these terms, they have to build facilities, 5 facilities in Arizona. That's literally creating jobs. He literally created jobs. And not only did he created jobs in the private sector. That's literally creating jobs. And $165 billion investment. I don't know.
we talking about
Push the AI Act.
all of that Mag 7 talk was all because there was a small concentrated amount of stocks that was driving the stock market. And those were technology stocks. We've seen this happen before, but when they go up and they're going to come back down. But that is, I think that's more of an indicator of how the stock market is actually doing than the Dow Jones for sure. That shouldn't even.
Yeah, I was like, maybe the Dow's 30. I was going like,
but
I don't know. The S&P is not a good indicator?
It's a good indicator, but it's losing relevancy.
Okay. All
It's
right.
losing relevancy when it's so top heavy, right?
But that's why. So like when they just to interject a little bit, right? Because when I'm first hearing it, I'm like, wait, hold on. But yes,
The S&P losing relevancy. Let's see if that's true.
what you're saying now makes, and I agree with everything you said up until that point.
I agree with everything
The way
you
it's
said up
equally
until that
weighted,
point.
right? So like, yes, it relies on Nvidia, which is like 7%, and it relies on some of these top heavy companies, but it is divided by sectors, and they're each equally weighted. So it does tell
It
a
is a good
story.
indicator. So
Now,
it's a good
the story
indicator.
has been that tech is leading. That is the story.
And
So
always will lead in America.
Exactly. Like,
So basically, the S&P is a good indicator. It's just saying that tech is the leading industry right now in America, which is fine, which is actually a good thing because we want to be leading in tech, don't we? I think he didn't like that. He's stretching out a little stress relief. It is what it is. This is the thing about business and learning. You got to be humble. You got to be willing to take in information, and myself included. You know, they might be like, "Oh, who are you saying these things?" But I'm playing clips. This is all backed with facts and data. You could do the research. Anyone, the TSMC announcement, the $100 billion investment that Trump, helped put in place. So that's just some of the jobs that he created. And honestly, they say that he's just eliminating jobs, those government jobs that he eliminated. He already created other jobs instead. So, and it's funny because the government employees only make up like 1 to 2% of the total workforce in America. The federal workforce only make up 1 to 2%, and they're only laying off 10% of that. So how many jobs is he really taking from the American people?
If we look at most of the companies, 40% of them have a technology component, if not, well, on paper, but pretty much all of them do. But there are sectors inside of it. Even when tech has pulled back, we've seen some other sectors go up, unless what we're seeing now, there's
because what you're trying to say, which is like tech is influencing everything. So tech is a big influence, and the S&P is still relevant. It's just showing you that tech is that powerhouse. That's why those top tech companies that are the heaviest in tech, such as Nvidia, which they actually make the tech, the top hardware tech company, is the top company. It's like gold, oil. The chips are like gold and oil to the tech industry. But every other company that's implementing tech in a good way is also growing up. Microsoft, Google. Like Google's a search company, but are they a tech company now? Because look at all the tech that they're implementing. They have phones, they have hardware, they want chips, they have AI. Same thing with Microsoft. Same thing with Meta.
Overall pullback inside of the market, which is what we've seen over the past few weeks with the uncertainty. Like this is one of the things we're talking about. And I think kind of what you're saying is uncertainty. When we talk about catalyst events, like we could talk about earnings and we can talk all these things and future guidance.
He look like he's checking out. He don't want to listen.
But uncertainty is the biggest detriment and catalyst to watching downturns.
Yeah.
You want my thoughts?
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, let's see.
There's a thing called portfolio management. And if we get too top heavy, they're going to rotate out the ones that are dead. Like,
that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I don't even want to hear that. Let's see if they say anything else about Trump.
Yes. The days where you pick one and you're going to see appreciation in that because it's tied to something that might be tied to something.
So all right. So hit the like button.
I got a rebuttal.
And share.
I got a rebuttal percent of what you just said.
What 5% don't you agree with so I can rebut to that? That they shouldn't give you what a billionaire.
Hold on.
Some of these meme coin, you could buy the dip. That's why he didn't have a second term. People have short-term memories.
They were talking about Trump sporadically throughout this thing, so I'm clicking around. So let's see.
They called me every name in the book. They said how it was a Democratic shield and how it was an embarrassment.
You definitely play that Democrat role. I think I don't think I've ever seen you guys cape for Trump or support Trump in that way. Maybe you guys just made some actual points that were, informed, and then people, they could be emotional because if you big up Trump in any way, people just start attacking you, saying that you're a Trumper, you're MAGA. Which actually I support MAGA, Make America Great Again. What is wrong with that? Listen to the words. The same way people say Black Lives Matter, and they understood that, like, oh, Black Lives Matter. And then some people are saying, oh, wait, all lives matter. And then some people are saying, make America great again. Listen to all these statements and how they play with people's emotions. And all those statements, there's nothing wrong with any of those statements. Now, it's about, let's put our thinking caps on. What is actually being done? What are these people actually doing? Right?
disrespectment to the black community and all of
They
this.
said
All I
that. Damn.
all
Don't
I
let
said, I
people-
simply said,
Don't let people trick you with emotional, bait.
this is about the economy, and one person is better for the economy. That was just my opinion. I didn't say that Trump was going to completely crash the whole entire world, that he was the worst person in the world. I just felt that out of the choices that we had, he was not the best choice for the economy. So it's interesting when people say like, well, now you're switching course. Now you've always supported Trump your whole life. No, we said that we asked the question, should he be invited to InvestFest? Look, I'm not anti-Trump. I hope he turns this thing around. But I knew that he's irrational. I knew that
I haven't seen him do one thing that's irrational. What are they talking about? What is this irrational thing that Trump does compared to? Was it irrational to leave the border open and let violent criminals? Was that irrational? I don't get it. What is irrational about what he's doing?
he flip-flops and he wasn't good for the economy.
Wait, how's he flip flopping if he's doing what he's MAGA? If anything, you're the flip flopper because people are confused about what you're putting out there. So if anything, people are calling you out for being a flip flopper. So if anything, it sounds like you're projecting. Because one, you say you're an independent. So what does that mean? That's like a flip flop. It depends on 1 minute Kamala, maybe then Trump, maybe Bernie. Like you could just pick and choose. Isn't that flip flopping? You haven't made a choice, so that sounds like a flip flop to me.
The last time, that's why he didn't have a second term. People have short-term memories. He wasn't good for the stock
He didn't have a second term because there was some funny business going on allegedly. That's a whole different can of worms.
market the last time. The
Last
only reason why
years
the
was
stock
rough,
market,
right?
only reason why the stock market went up is because they put an unprecedented amount of money into the economy to save it from COVID. And
That was towards the end of he was out of there when that happened. Let's see. Because this doesn't make sense. So let's see, what was the stock market's return during Trump's first term? Let's see what they say. Multiple sources indicate that the S&P 500 gained significantly during Trump's first term. Most commonly cited figures a nearly 68% increase in price return. Breaking it down, S&P 500 closed at 2,263 on January 20th, 2017, and reached 3,811 on January 20th, 2021. However, when including dividends, the return adjusts slightly higher, with some sources like Macro Trends and the Motley Fool suggesting an annualized return of 14.1%. The establishment often hails this as a testament to Trump's pro-business policies, e.g. tax cuts and jobs acts, but this narrative overlooks external factors like the pre-existing economic recovery from Obama's term and the Fed's accommodative stance until 2018. The 2020 COVID crash minus 34%, followed by a rapid rebound, also skews the average, suggesting return wasn't a steady climb. So I'll say this. It steadily grew, and his first term wasn't the best in terms of him being able to implement things efficiently and do exactly what he wanted to do. He did pass the Jobs Act and the tax cuts, which they left in, by the way, the Biden administration. So he had set the precedents in certain things. Sometimes when you plan things, you're not going to see the benefits within your term as well. They're not going to talk about that. But it says an annualized return of 14%, which is good. The Dow Jones annualized return of 11 to 12%, NASDAQ 20 to 22%. So he had positive returns in the teens. And actually, the fact that the economy went back up after COVID is a good thing. You know, it just is what it is. Yeah, they pumped money out until that was their plan, and it worked. Now we just need better policy, and we need to eliminate the debt.
could argue that the whole COVID thing was his fault to begin with.
Huh?
That's neither here nor
Hello.
there. That's neither here nor there.
Wasn't Dr. Fauci the head of the research who was under Biden, who Biden pardoned? I didn't hear anything about Trump being in control and position of that. If anything, he was telling the truth about where it came from. But that's a story for another day.
The point is that we're not going to do is rewrite history. At no point in time was I ever a MAGA supporter. I actually got crucified.
Basically, he's saying, I'm not a make America great again. That's what MAGA means. That's all MAGA means. And I'm trying to make the point with the Black Lives Matter thing, because I'm sure there was a time when people were like, oh, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. Now people find out, oh, okay. So maybe there's an opposite effect with MAGA. Black Lives Matter was a scam. People were saying MAGA's a scam, but what if MAGA's actually a good thing? Think about what it means. Make America great again. You live in America. So many Americans don't want this thing to be true. But when they were saying Black Lives Matter and people were saying all lives matter, Black people took it personal. So why can't an American take you saying you don't agree with Make America Great Again? Why can't they take it personal and say, what do you mean you don't want to make America great again? Why do you think this is a bad thing? We live in America. That's my slogan. Why do you think there's so many Black people that agree with me? They're not taking it like, what are you guys making up? And why did they make this thing up like it's a bad thing? Who in these positions in these media companies are twisting my Make America Great Again slogan? And why did they use the Black Lives Matter slogan to manipulate you and buy big mansions and just pillage? Okay.
For some thought was the opposite. And then the Democrats crucified me because they thought that I was too pro-Trump, and I wasn't a supporter of, like, I'm not a political pundit, so it's not my job to actually campaign for somebody. But a lot of the Democratic...
A political pundit doesn't have to campaign for a party. You just have to speak, informally about, even the word informally, you have to speak informed about a subject. That's what a political pundit is.
Base thought that I was not vocal enough in my support of the Democrats. So which one is it? You're a Democratic shield or you're a MAGA supporter? I'm neither. But I do think that he was going to be bad for the economy. So far, that's holding true. Okay. That was
I'm very proud of you for activating your Troy.
But let's go somewhere else.
Climb back up to